Hello everyone, welcome back again. Thank you for joining me at parts 97 and 98 of Build Your Own R2D2. I'm recording this on another hot night, 10 to 4 on Monday morning. I don't know if I'm going to finish tonight, but I'm going to try. But 97 looks like an absolute nightmare. And come to think of it, so does 98. It's all finally clipping the wiring and fitting the battery box, I believe. Wiring and clipping and more wiring and plugging. It looks like an absolute nightmare. Takes up most of 97. So I don't know if I'll finish tonight. If it goes very badly, which there's a small possibility it might do, then I won't feel like editing until the end of the week. So, that being said, let's take a look at 97. And basically, in this part, there's 2 pages of magazine content, and the rest, all the rest, is build after build after build after build. Oh, this does not look pretty. I'm sure it will look pretty when it's all fitted together, but also I'm not entirely sure how practical it is to be filming every part and every connection as a form of guide. So I'll have a look and see where I am, but the camera angles are going to be tricky, and even if I get a good camera angle, I'm not sure that it's going to be particularly meaningful to show you every single connection and every single wire, because even if I show you exactly what part needs to go where at which stage, there's still the issue that it's not really that clear with these clips whether it's the left or the right, especially when you're working in a circle. Let me go back to the start and see what is first. Pulling all the plastic cable labels off. Isn't that a great rhyming partnership there? Cable labels. Do I really have to say cable labels throughout the whole video? What can I call them instead? Let's call them cable clips. Consistent as ever, DeAgostini. This time they have given me a bag of screws. Okay, I think you can just about see that. I have found the very first clip, which needs to be L.HIR. Do I really need to go through every single one of these? I'm not sure if I can bear doing that. I'm not sure I could watch a video of somebody actually doing that either, because there's that many clips. I think you might be comatose by the end of me going through every single clip, but I'm doing this one because it's the very first clip, so that's quite significant. And this is for the head. Alright, this is where it also gets confusing, surprise surprise, because in this part, the main body wiring part, they say left and right are from R2D2's point of view, so that's as in from the back looking forward. Left there is going to be right, and obviously vice versa. But in this one it says this is the label for the left head position sensor, and it's looking like left is left on the actual model. I'm already confused, but I'm going to take this at face value and say that that left is left. Does that make sense? I'm going to do it anyway. And how was this for a lovely new angle? Okay, left being left, we are concluding, and need to unclip this one, or untangle it, being ever careful not to mix them up. Surely that wouldn't happen to me. And you basically have to stretch it out and then put the clip near the bottom. There we have it. Clip number 1. This is a significant stage because I've got another God knows how many of these to go. Okay people. See, the last time I said okay people just now, it set my phone off, which thought I said okay Google. Because of course people sounds just like Google, doesn't it? Anyway, not that they're dodgy listening devices or anything. The only way I can think to reasonably do this is to go off and label all these on this one page, and then get back to you, and then show you what I've done, and hopefully that will make a bit of sense, because it would be very boring saying, oh yes, I've clipped this one on, then I've clipped this one on, and now I've clipped this one on. Can you imagine? Would you really want to watch that? I think I've labelled them all. I've double checked, and once I got going, it was thankfully quite a lot easier than I had thought. Been getting through these quite quickly. That's all wired up. No, that's all labelled up. Okay, next you're labelling 2 wires from the battery box. Not this white one, because that goes straight to the charging socket, but these 2. Gonna whack a couple of labels on those. Okay, this is the bit that I love, because do you remember those wires when we were testing the battery box? And if you were paranoid, no, if you weren't paranoid like me, you'd just be like, ah, that was just for testing the battery out. Leave those wires there. I'll chuck those wires out. Yeah, that'd be alright. No, you needed to keep those wires all this time, that one and this one, because these have got to be used in R2D2. So, got to go and label these as well. Okay, that's those labelled. Next part is screwing the battery box together. I think I can handle that. Next, you are putting this battery box inside there. If someone could now sing me this Westlife song about lifting me up, well, that would be quite handy. Amongst all the shadows, you can just about see this little flap here, and I've loosened those screws, and you're supposed to pull this out, and then turn it back over, and then slide the battery box in and underneath. Okay, this is a freehand way I can show you where the battery box is. Actually slides up from the middle into there. So you can see just that is the battery box. It's got a nice little gap that it fits in. Now the only thing I'm wondering is, how does it stay in there, and how easy is it to get it out again to put the batteries back in? That's something I'm going to find out in the last few parts. Okay, I'm doing this freehand again because I'm running out of battery. Basically, you have to connect this up to that one at the top there that was already in there. That's from the front of R2D2. This is from the battery box, the only one that wasn't labelled, so you have to plug those 2 in, and then after that I have to do the massive job of connecting all these up in the right order. So let me go wire. Oh my god, that was quite a night. Wiring and fiddling and squeezing and pushing and pulling and tucking, and then I forgot to fit one of the cables on this side, but I've done that now. So that's that stage complete. I would say that was easier than I thought it was going to be, but that would be a lie. But having said that, it wasn't mega hard. It wasn't a nightmare. Couldn't say that for it. It's just a bit fiddly, especially tucking this side in over that side, because they want you to tuck more into this side, that clip there. Doesn't look quite like the photos, but after all that, I'm not really too fussed that it doesn't look exactly like the photos, because it's good enough. I think it's going to be tidy enough. All the access for where I need next is open. There's a couple more slots up that side. So what's left to do now is, for some reason, remove the battery box again. They just randomly say take the battery box out again, and then it just goes straight on to tidying up the cables, which is a bit random and a bit odd. No reason for removing the battery box, so just say remove it. So, okay, and then tidy up the wires, and then that's the end of this part. So they just leave you hanging. They don't even say, like they normally always do, they don't have a little bit at the end that says this completes this stage. Maybe it's because we're going hard at it for the last 4 parts. Let me go and randomly remove the battery box for no apparent reason, and then do some cable tidying, and I will show you whereabouts I tidied as well, and which wires. it's mainly going to be those two. For an as yet unknown reason, they want you to secure 3 major wires to the frame, BF14, which is that one. These are one of the already cable tidied wires, and a couple of the thinner ones, one of which is for the right leg. So going to tie these together to the frame, which seems a bit needless and pointless, but I've got to follow instructions here. Okay, that's done, and they basically want me to do the same thing on the other side. And the good news is, now that I've vaguely sort of seen what the idea is, what they're aiming for, should find it a bit easier to do that on the other side. So let me route this one as well. Okay, here's another classic moment of this build. Basically, there wasn't enough slack to pull this one up to tie it, so I had to make more of a mess to then tidy that up. So that was interesting. So now I've just got to tidy these last 2 head sensor cables, I think they are. Tidy those 2 together, and then that'll be it. And indeed, that is it. I just had to tie them to the pillar down at the bottom there to tidy those 2 head sensor cables, which was what they are. That means it's the end of 97, whereupon it just ends. Secure both head position sensor cables to the bottom of this upright to complete the job. And so, let us see what awaits me in part 98. Alright, here we are at 98. And I'm working a lot closer to the microphone now, so you hopefully should be able to hear me a lot better and more consistently. Still got to look up a clip mic. I did start looking last week, but didn't get that far. For this part, we are working with the dome, which is I'm a bit apprehensive about because I've been keeping it dust free for months and months and months, but I'm going to have to obviously remove it and get working inside it again just to finish it off. And we're working with this teeny tiny little camera, which is very, very tiny. Got to remove that. I was a bit paranoid that I didn't actually have that camera, but then I found it in a little plastic tray that came with 97. So the first thing we have to do is peel off the lens cover. Alright, we're entering extreme close-up mode. Well, I could get closer I guess, but this is as close as I need to get. We're feeding this end through that hole there, which I don't know if you can see or not in this light, but it's the only hole there is. And you're feeding that through. Then you're removing that sticker and you're fitting the camera onto the end, like so, which I guess you can just about maybe see. And then you're screwing the 2 holes there so that the camera stays in place. So let me go and tackle this job. It's in there now. I had to use the teeny tiny screws I worked out because I couldn't get the thicker ones to start off either side. And you may have also spotted that I've left the lens sticker on, the lens cover rather, and I think it's one of the most stupid things to tell you to take it off before you put it in, because you have to start this thing off, to start the screwing. You have to you're going to have to hold your thumb on it or your finger on it to keep it in place, because that sticker does not keep it in place. So why would you want to constantly have a greasy thumbprint on your lens while you're screwing it in? That was a bit of a dud instruction. But anyway, it's on there now, so I'm going to take this off and then see what's next. Okay, this is a slightly bizarre stage. They want you to take both of these strips and fit them along the front at the bottom. I'm not entirely sure why, because when I fitted the original eye cover piece, sorry, camera needs to be a bit higher. When I fitted the original piece over, there wasn't any problem with this area here, so I'm not quite sure why they want it cushioned, but well, I'm going to do it anyway, and hope I do it right. That's just weird. Weird, I tell you. But I've done it. I hope it's in the right corner, because who knows what might happen otherwise. I said to tuck it in behind the metal dome, which I've done on the second piece. Why on earth am I doing this? I've asked that so many times, haven't I? Okay, the next part I'm very happy about, because I don't know if it even shows up. It does show up on camera. I made a little tiny scuff there on the original lens that I had for the main eyepiece. But the happy news is they've told us to replace it with this one. I've got to peel this off and put it inside the eyepiece. Now these bring back memories. You can't even see it because I can't hold it in a way that you can see it. But these black screws that held in the eyepiece are shorter than, hold on, those screws are shorter than all the other black screws that I used afterwards. I think. I don't know if you agree with that. I don't remember ever using the black screws that were as short as those ever again. It was always the longer ones. Anyway, on with the show. So I've got to go and put this onto the front and clip it into place. Alright, I think that's in there. Very nice and reflective, as you can see, half of my flat there. Anyway, that's the head done for now. We're back to the front panel and untangling this piece. No, untidying, basically taking that bit off and feeding this through the front hole right there. I'm not entirely sure that's going to work, but let's see what happens. Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. Then we're taking the AM clip and clipping it onto the end of this cable. Okay, not that thrilling to watch all this, but you've basically got to put some other clip labels onto this one and this one and this one. Okay, they're all labelled, and now I thought I was skipping on a bit, but I'm actually not, because the bit over the page is just referring to where the labels go. You have to unscrew this top screws on this one and then fit that over it. Do you not think it may have been a good idea to ask us to do that many moons ago, DeAgostini? Maybe this is another bit they thought, oh, need to go back and do this. That's what it looks like. Well, that was interesting and probably very needless. So now we need the other panel. Alright, this is a fairly straightforward section. What could possibly go wrong? You basically need to untangle this and then label it as the speaker, because that is the speaker. Next part is extremely awkward to show you any other way than this, really. It's the only cable that's in the head, I think, that's this long. It's actually the microphone cable, so you need to label this. Okay, next, your old propeller aeroplane piece. You need to attach a label to one of these. I'm not sure why they made a point of saying you only need to attach it to one of them, because I'm fairly sure I could get both of these through that one clip. Okay people, it's time for the big one. I had to turn my phone off again because it mistook people for Google again. Anyone would think they're trying to tune the devices to listen in on you when you don't want to be listened in on. Anyway, you need to put this on, and it's quite a nice fit. I did a little test fit earlier. Obviously I'm just showing you how it goes vaguely, because I've probably got a couple of wires trapped under there. You need to match it up, I believe, to that hole there for this side. So it's the front first. And after you've done this, just going to go that side. Anyway, after you've done that, you are connecting up some of these wires to the circuit board. Okay, that is where I said to match it up to, on the side bit just now. But you also need to make sure that you feed the cables underneath this metal bit and through the center, because I thought maybe they want you to feed them through one side. Nope, you have to feed them all through the center bit. which should be quite straightforward. Okay, in yet another bizarre twist, we're going to be remaking the rotary sensor housing, which goes at the front of the frame for the head to sense where it is. Got to basically put all these bits together. Okay, you're taking this piece, which is BF100, and as you can see I've already put one of the rubber buffers on that side. The aim is to make it so that it's a nice little headboard shape, like so. So technical, I know. I did test fit this bit, but can't get it off again, so it's lucky that I did put it on the right way. And you're putting this one on over this side, like so. I must say they fit very nicely. And then it's a case of putting this bit on over the top. And now we're screwing them down, and guess what with? Yes, those dreaded black screws. Okay, well that's together now, and looks like it's looking at you. And now we've got to pull the other one off, the original one off the frame, and then put this one in its place. Just in case you wanted to see, that is what we're replacing. I'm not entirely sure why, but then I could say that quite a few times about this model. There we go. That's on there. And now, through the magic of editing, boom, it's screwed on. Okay, and now is another major piece. We're taking this piece and we're putting it across there. I will show you. There we go. It actually lines up really nicely with the pins at the edge of the screw holes. You now need to screw that down, and you need to put some washers on the end of the I think they're 8mm thick silver screws, 4 of those, 2 each side. Okay, that's in there, and now it's back to working on the dome. Okay, here we are inside the dome again, and you have to take the mic wire and you have to feed it under each of these clips until it reaches a little circuit board on the other side. Well, I have to admit that was quite a pleasant experience. It's routed there, through there. I hate filming these bits, it's very awkward. You need to take this piece, and obviously it's different both sides. You need to have it up that way. And you're putting this, as you can see I've turned the dome round a bit, because the lightsaber in the picture is at the top, and you need to have this bit that's sticking up, which is the only bit on all sides, on all edges, and you need to put that so that the sticky up bit is next to the lightsaber, like so, and then you need to screw this down. That is screwed on very nicely indeed, and that brings me to the end of part 98 and 97. So the next time you see me, or the next video I make of Build R2D2, will be the final 2 parts. It's been a long road. It's been an interesting journey. At times it has been quite psychotic, but I've finally reached the end game. Not sure how I'm going to store this. I guess upside down like that. I've still got the plastic cover to put over it. And in case you're wondering, or maybe shouting at me, did you check that you could get the battery out and access the screws to undo the cover again? Yes, I have checked that, and it's all good. So I'll be okay to put the batteries in next part. So that brings me to the end. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my several new subscribers. I am extremely grateful, as always, for new subscribers. So thank you. I do appreciate all the support, and I always reply to all comments, as I'm sure you can see. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.